26 teams entered week 4 undefeated. Will BYU remain one of them? Off we go in Waco. And it's Keelan Marion letting this bounce into the end zone for a touchback. And Jake Retzlaff will take to the field. Last week against K-State, 15 of 21, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He executed key plays when BYU had momentum on their side, and it changed rapidly in that game. He still had to execute and do.
Yeah, and we talked about what it was like speaking with Retzlaff in the meeting. I mean, he's just such an intense guy. And he said it can hurt him sometimes because he just wants to do things so perfectly. He understands, though, playing quarterback, sometimes you just got to move on and understand you're going to make mistakes. Get to the next play.
Retzlaff to pass on first down, and he hits his target along the far sideline. And that's Cody Epps, redshirt junior from Los Angeles, who missed a chunk of last season with injury. We take a look at the Cougars offense. Brought back a bunch of seniors on this offensive line. A lot of guys that could have gone pro, including Connor Pay, a senior center. We'll keep an eye on Hinckley Rapati, who hasn't been able to stay healthy, been out with an ankle injury, the running back for BYU.
Take a look at those tackles, too. Caleb Etienne at the left tackle, 6'8", 320 pounds, and at that right tackle spot, Braden Keim, 6'9", some power forwards playing tackle for the Cougars. Nawahine getting the call. The redshirt junior from Hawaii, Utah State transfer. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury a little bit since fall camp as we take a look at the Baylor Bears defense. Dave Aranda doing the play calling for these guys. Only allowed an average of 15.3 points per game coming in. But they have lamented the number of pass interference penalties from their secondary. It's been a big issue for them all year. Yeah, it certainly has. And, of course, in a third down situation like this, too high. But they're in too high a lot, and it's because he doesn't want to expose those guys at the corner spot.
Retzlaff to pass on third down, and they'll move the change. Nice move by Darius Lassiter, shedding a couple of tackles and making his way into plus territory. A big chunk for Lassiter. Last week against K-State, kind of held in check. This time he picks up 24 for a first down.
Yeah, and you see Matt Jones in the coverage there. Just a simple little stick route, option route to the inside. And it's that run after catch, so dangerous. This Baylor defense kind of back on its heels early.
Last week he had 24 total yards. This week he's equal that total on his first touch of the game. Speaking of first touches, this is Pokai Haunga, true freshman running back, who they expect to continue to get reps as the season goes along. Really excited about his growth and development. They are so deep in that running back room right now.
Yeah, and of course, Siane Moa, also a true freshman, and he had really been flashing but didn't make the trip because of the injury. And sometimes with those young running backs, it's about protection, right? The guys know how to take the handoffs, but if you can't protect most important player on the field, the quarterback, they can't put you on the field.
Retzlaff's pass, crossing pattern complete, 30-yard line. It's Lassiter. And another first down for BYU, and they are marching downfield efficiently.
Yeah, they certainly are. And we talked about the problems that this Baylor defense has had with pass interference, and they're just playing a little bit soft, playing a little bit off. And Jake Retzlaff more than happy to exploit the openings in that soft coverage.
After a gain of 9, first down for the Cougars, who sit at 4-0 on the season, looking for their first 5-0 start since 2021. Parker Kingston on the sweep. And Kingston rounds the corner. It's a nice pickup on first down of 4 for a man who had perhaps the most exciting play of the game last week, that 90-yard punt return touchdown that was nearly a complete whiff.
Oh, that was so great. And, then watching Kalani Sitake in the press conference, they're asking him, hey, do you like your players improvising? And he's like, no, I don't want you improvising on a play like that. Probably shouldn't even fielded the ball. Obviously ended up being a great play, and I could see him shouting at his shoes after that one. He was a little bit worn out after all the extra running that he had to do.
fake the sweep. Retzloff pumps, passes, caught, and it's a touchdown for BYU. Miles Davis didn't have a single touch last week, and the Cougars quickly get the opening 6 this afternoon. 26 yards on the score.
Miles Davis, jazzy little play coming out of the backfield here, and nobody picks him up. Just got to understand your coverage, and you know this is a Baylor defense maybe a little bit stung from what happened a week ago. These guys just have to go out and play. You know what kind of coordinator Dave Aranda is. You got to believe what you see, but you cannot let a running back go free out of the backfield like that.
Will Farron for the extra point, and it is up and good. And BYU 8 plays, 75 yards. Very little resistance put up. 7-zip to the Cougs on the road. Well, what an opening drive for BYU on the road here in Waco. 7 plays, 75 yards, virtually untouched.
Yeah, we know Dave Aranda's not much of a yeller. We saw it a couple weeks ago against Air Force, and just wonder on the sideline right now, you just really didn't seem to see a lot of life out of that Baylor defense. I mean, it's disappointing to see something like that. I'm sure if you're a Baylor fan, and if you're a Baylor coach, after what happened a week ago, you'd think those guys so disappointed would just come out with their hair on fire today.
We'll see if they get a little bit of help from the return game. Jamal Bell had a 100-yard return last week. Jukes across the 20-yard line and is brought down here. One of the top kick returners in the Mountain West the last couple of years with Nevada. And Sawyer Robertson will bring out the Bears offense, thrust into the starting role as we talked about week 3 after Daquan Finn's injury. But he may have settled the Baylor quarterback drama once and for all with a really strong performance on the road last week.
Yeah, and again, we talk about him, of course, his running ability, scored the running touchdown. He had about a 30-yarder a week ago, but his ability really to have every pitch in his arsenal, really tremendous, controlling his throws.
This one batted down and picked up by BYU. It's an interception. Blake Mangelson. John Nelson with the tip. Mangelson, right place, right time, and an immediate turnover.
Yeah, a smart play by Nelson here. You can see him compressing the pocket and with his eyes on Sawyer Robertson the entire time and matching that hand to the quarterback. And it's not just getting the hand up, but it's seeing where that hand's going and just getting that big paw in the place for the tip.
Utter disaster for Baylor to begin this game. Now, in somewhat similar way to last week when BYU completely turned that matchup against 13th ranked K-State on its ear.
That was crazy. 2 touchdowns in 39 seconds.
Right? Short field here. They took full advantage then as they handed off here to Nawahine. And what was incredible, they're trailing 6-0, then 6-3. They turned that into a 17-6 lead in the span of 39 seconds.
Hey, that's the way that the game goes sometimes, though, right? I mean, talk about breaks and change and momentum in game. You got to be able to ride those waves, and they certainly took advantage of what were some great opportunities with the turnovers and this big special teams plays.
2-back set, and here's Haunga. Haunga, power run inside the 5. First down and goal for BYU on a gain of 11.
Woo, boy, this, I mean, you know, you see guys not fighting off of blocks. You see guys stumbling. This is a really bad look for this Baylor defense. The guys just staying blocked, right? You're just not seeing the fire that you need to see. Now, look, credit this BYU offensive line for getting up to the second level, but you're just not seeing the intensity that you would expect to see from a Baylor Bears team that got embarrassed a week ago. And the quick change defense, you got to just say, hey, man, we got this. But you're just not seeing that fire.
First and goal for BYU. And Nawahine
We'll get to the 2. And this is, again, worst nightmare stuff if you're Baylor. For BYU, well, this is just a continuation of what they did last week. They didn't have a lot of long fields to go, but they were efficient when they had to be. Only 241 yards total offense. You look at that top line, you might say, well, it wasn't that great a performance. But they were good when they had to be, took full advantage of their opponent's mistakes, and they're a couple yards away from doing it again.
Yeah, watch Chase Roberts here going in motion, 6'4".
They'll pitch to Roberts, and he gets to the goal line, waiting on a signal. He's in. Perhaps a yard, half a yard short, but I think he got it.
And Dave Aranda said,
"Oh, he's in." Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said Chase Roberts, he's a 6'4", but he plays like a 6-foot wide receiver. They didn't need any of the height right there, and this is something that Baylor knew to expect from BYU. All kinds of trick plays. Nice play design there with a quick pass to Roberts.
Extra point is good. What a start for BYU. They've lost their last 10 games starting before 3:30.
Eric B. and Rakim, they got paid in full on that drive. You like that too, right? See how Baylor responds when we get back down 14-0.
Tonight, Baseball Night in America is on Fox. We'll get to that in just a moment. 14-0 BYU after a short field. Only needed 20 yards there after the interception. Batted down by John Nelson and Blake Mangelson. That ball hovering in the air, making the play. And they are stunned here in Waco.
And we'll see how this team responds right now. Remember, Colorado was down 14 early to Baylor last week, and they were able to come back.
Fair catch signaled here. And now we'll tell you about Baseball Night in America on Fox. Postseason on the horizon. Francisco Lindor, boy, they hope he's healthy. His back locked up the other day. Mets need a big win against the Brewers here. Otherwise, they might be faced with a doubleheader on Monday. Yikes. Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles, they'll take on Carlos Correa on the Twins, in desperate need of a win themselves. Don't miss the action tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox. Check for the game in your area.
You know a lot of baseball, Alex.
Yeah, wound up doing a lot of baseball this summer, yeah. That was a heck of a season, though. And it'll be a heck of a postseason on Fox as well. Sawyer Robertson gets his first completion of the afternoon right at the sticks. Boy, does Baylor need a offensive series here or what?
Yeah, no question about it. And you can see the talent of Sawyer Robertson right there. Rolling out to his left. Nice, accurate throw to Presley.
And this will get him a first down.
Yeah, remember, this is what Jake Spavital talked to us about as well. You got to get that first down, get that offense rolling, and you can see him using tempo here as well.
Play action. Robertson floats this ball to the near side. Josh Cameron, as he's upended across the 40-yard line. Cameron, the leading receiver for Baylor this season.
Yeah, Cameron with his first touchdown earlier this season. Favorite story for a lot of the Baylor team.
How about this tempo for the Bears right away? Bryson Washington struggled last week against Colorado, just 21 yards on 10 carries, but had a breakout performance against Air Force a couple of weeks ago, 127 yards then. Gavin Yates blocking fullback in there.
And it's really the detail. You can see them getting the substitution here. Baylor substituted, so BYU has the opportunity to substitute and get some fresh bodies in there.
Robertson looking, and that was miscommunication. Monterey Baldwin stopped, and that ball wound up about 20 yards further downfield.
Yeah, a little miscue there, a little misread on the coverage. But Jake Spavital, he talked about the way that they needed to work that tempo in, and just the way that this offense has been looking so far. need to be able to finish this drive, but the tempo certainly has helped, and he knew that this BYU defense, these guys are built to stop the run. A lot of big guys. Make them run. Tire them out.
Especially on a warmer day, right? I mean, these are where the conditions and having home field advantage and what you're used to can play into things, because we know that BYU, they told us, like, we're going to have to substitute a little bit more today. 4th down here. They're going to go quickly, try to get it. And the play is blown up in the backfield. Isaiah Glasker. Bryson Washington with nowhere to go. Glasker brought him down quickly, and Baylor turns it over on downs.
Boy, Glasker, you could see him reading this one from the very beginning. Makes the tackle in the backfield. Big stop on 4th down. Ends the Baylor drive.
Well, a stop on 4th down for this BYU defense, and Baylor turns it over on downs.
Well, you see Isaiah Glasker lined up at that linebacker spot, and really this is the right tackle, Caden Saraki. He turns out, and you have to see those run-throughs. That's just the kind of thing that you have to pick up on the fly as a tackle, but credit defensive coordinator Jay Hill for BYU anticipating that run and getting a run-through.
Flag here.
False start. Offense number 51. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
First miscue of the game for BYU. They've been really good at staying away from penalties. Only 2 of them last week. Only 40 penalty yards per game. 2nd best mark in the Big 12 to begin the season. And a good run here to get all the penalty yardage back and then some. Nawahine coming off a career high in rushing yards last week against K-State. He dealt with an injury in fall camp that impacted his ramp up. He was scratched twice early this season, but he has really grown into a big-time back for this BYU club. Nawahine again. And he'll lower the shoulder, get close to the stick. And that'll be a 1st down. Began his college career at Utah State. Had a 2-year mission in Zambia. 6 rushing plays in a row now for BYU.
Yeah, really dominating that line of scrimmage, and the second level of that Baylor defense, just guys not fighting off of blocks. Matt Jones almost got in place that last time.
Play action. Retzlaff rolling out, throwing underneath. It is caught along the sideline by Marion. 1st down BYU, and they're into plus territory.
Yeah, not even sure if he was going to Marion on this play. Just kind of ended up being lucky. Had 2 receivers stacked in the area. You see number 42 there. Nice job by Marion, though, with the body control on the sideline, keeping the feet in.
At some point, BYU's secondary needs to step up. Retzlaff dropping back, pressure coming, and he'll get rid of it. Into the feet of Enoch Nawahine. And maybe that's the area of growth for Retzlaff. We're talking about, Robert, about some of those decisions earlier on this season that he wishes he had back. That might be a smart one there.
Yeah, and Aaron Roderick, he talked about a series a week ago that ended up in a field goal, but it was really the decision on 3rd down that impressed him about Jake Retzlaff. He said he made the decision not to make the throw, understanding that he didn't want to take points off the board and not risk things with a turnover. He said it doesn't show up in the numbers, but it was a great play.
Retzlaff steps up in the pocket, gets away, tucks and runs across the 40 and out across the 35-yard line, crashing into the BYU sideline.
Might tack on a few extra here.
Yeah, 15 yards, and then whatever comes from this flag.
Really not known as a runner, but you could see that Baylor defense not very disciplined in their rush lanes. All kinds of space for Retzlaff to take off, and the late push getting him into the cool bench. He said, yeah.
Personal foul, late hand out of bounds. Defense number 3, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's on Devin Bobby, junior from DeSoto, Texas. You know, Retzlaff, he's not known as a two-way quarterback, but he can certainly hold his own running the ball.
Boy, I don't know. I know that the hands got on him when he was out of bounds, but I'm not crazy about that call. That was pretty close. I know it looks bad going up over the bench, though.
Trick play, ball tipped, out of the way. Parker Kingston launching it to the end zone, and Lorando Johnson says no, sir.
Well, Matt Pollitz, the safeties coach, and Dave Aranda both talked about the way that this BYU offense, you had to be ready for some trick plays, a little lefty throw. Nice save there at the last second.
Caleb Parker, one of the safeties, got his hands on it in the end. Retzlaff takes off, and Retzlaff is in. BYU is routing Baylor in the first quarter. 17 yards on the scamper and score for Jake Retzlaff.
Wow. You could just tell from the body language of this defense, you don't see guys fighting off of blocks. You just don't see the intensity. Look, credit BYU. They're doing what they need to do, getting bodies on bodies. But you don't want to beat a dead horse saying this, right? But after what happened a week ago, I just expected a much more intense Baylor defense, especially.
Well, it's what happened last year to this Baylor team a little bit. Losses carried over week to week. Doesn't matter what's going on the other side for BYU. They are rolling here in Waco. Yikes, what a start. BYU picking up where they left off last week. Ranked in the top 25 this week. First time they've been ranked in a couple of years. 38-9, they beat K-State last week. And I know it was a sudden change in that game that really flipped it, but they have carried momentum into this week, into Waco. We're talking all week about having to adjust their sleep schedules and whatnot for this 11 a.m. kick. I'll say they're up and at 'em. Man. It's be taken back from 1 yard deep by Bell. And Bell is met immediately at the 20-yard line by Jonathan Cabella.
Tomorrow, we've got a huge day of football on Fox. At 1 Eastern, the Eagles battle the Bucks. Or at 4, the Patriots take on Brock Purdy and the Niners. Check for the game in your area. Only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Fifth meeting all time between BYU and Baylor, third in the last 4 years. These two teams played a double overtime thriller a couple of years ago. BYU missed a game-winning field goal. Both teams missed field goals in overtime. Robertson connects with Ashton Hawkins. And it's not as if this Baylor offense hasn't moved the ball. They turned it over on downs their last series.
Yeah, they certainly did. And, this is the kind of game where you just got to get play after play. Just start stacking some good plays. Not a good start there on first down, but sometimes it's just those short throws that turn into long plays, and it just kind of boosts the entire team. They really need this offense to kind of bring some life to the team.
And to give their defense a blow. It's been a struggle on that side of the ball for sure. Robertson trying to get the defensive line to bite on a hard count. Handed off, and Washington burrow ahead for a couple of yards, but that incompletion on first down sets up a long third down here.
Boy, this is something that Dave Aranda had talked about, the way that this Baylor offensive line in the run game has struggled with A-gap pressure, and this is obviously something that defensive coordinator from BYU, Jay Hill, picked up on, making stunts from the edge, looping people into the A-gaps.
You saw Tyler Batty there, one of the captains on this team, coming back for an extra season. Impact player. Batty gets around his man, but Robertson steps up in the pocket and fires to the sideline for Washington, who's knocked out across the 45-yard line. First down for Baylor.
And boy, you love this from Sawyer Robertson, too. Doesn't panic, has to climb up into the pocket, and rather than escaping, makes that throw out there to Washington. Stayed under control.
Late flag comes in here. "17 yards.
Looks like it's on Baylor here. They're walking this thing back.
So it would have been a nice pickup.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Omar Ibedion just gets a little bit too far downfield. You see him here at that right guard spot and gets up to that second level and just keeps blocking him. You got to understand if that ball is going to come out. Can't go downfield. They said his engine runs a little bit hot, though. He gets a little bit excited, and he certainly did right there, getting up to that second level.
Second penalty for Baylor. Boy, this is a costly one. Third down and 14 now. Line to make is just on the BYU side of midfield.
You know, it's interesting with Baylor being one of the teams, or the only team in the FBS with the head coach calling the defensive plays, and they've talked about the analytics, and it's Joe DeRazio that's in control of the analytics for the offense and when they decide to go for it. But you know, we don't know what the book is going to say on this one. And you see Aranda fully involved here, but you wonder what that number is if they don't get the first down here. How much do you go for it? Down 21-0. I don't know what the book says, but from an emotional standpoint, you got to think that they would want to go for it on fourth down if it's less than 5 yards.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to try to set this up, though, you've got to go with something underneath in this case. You know, you don't want to go for it all, because 4th and 14 is definitely not in the book.
Yeah, no question about it, and that's kind of the way play calling works. It's the art of play calling, working from the number, and you know, that's what Jake Spavital said. You know, go to Joe DeRazio and say, okay, you know, we're green at 4 or we're green at 5, meaning if we can get to 4th or 4 or 4th and 5, that's what we're going to go with. But Jake Spavital said, you know, Joe DeRazio is not the one that has to go to those press conferences and answer why you went for it in those situations.
Please reset the game clock to 2:10. It'll start on my ready.
We had a bunch of game clock and play clock issues last night in Piscataway. Here, a lot of unnecessary time resetting things. Finally, we're ready for play. Robertson to pass, facing a 4-man front, steps up, throws, sideline, caught. And it's a first down into BYU territory for Josh Cameron.
Great play by Sawyer Robertson here, and really just staying calm in the pocket. Jay Hill, he's dialing up some exotic looks, bringing pressure from unexpected places. Sawyer Robertson stays calm, steps up, delivers a strike.
Robertson throwing to the sideline. Smart throw, as he had to hurry. Incomplete, intended for Cameron. Josh Cameron, a former walk-on, breaking into the rotation, earning a scholarship after his redshirt season. They feel bad with Baylor. They paraded him out in front of the media after a bunch of losses. They say this kid has got such a good head on his shoulders. They want to give him something good to talk about. Hand it off here on second down and get a yard or two here with Richardson. Dominic Richardson, top returning running back for Baylor. Third down.
And a little surprised to see Baylor kind of going at the teeth of this defense. You know, this is something Jake Spavital talked about in the meeting the way that this defense, I mean, they're designed to stop the run. A lot of beef, a lot of big guys in the middle. We expected them to be testing the edges, get those big guys running a little bit more and tire them out.
Speaking of edges, keep an eye on Tyler Batty, 92. He slips, allowing Robertson some time to step up, and Robertson will dive across the line to make. That's close to the marker, and they will give him the first down.
Just what the doctor ordered, and this is one where coaches on the sideline are just go. Okay, all right, good job. They say just get vertical, but Sawyer Robertson took a chance, saw where the sticks were, went sideways just a little bit, and extended that ball just over the first down. But they were going for it on fourth down anyway. If they didn't get it.
Much needed. But this clock is stopped here.
The previous play is under further review.
I think I got to check the spot.
Ruling on the field was that it was made for a first down.
Live, it looked like he got it, Robert, right?
Yeah, we'll see if there were any body parts that came down. Of course, the superimposed line is not official. You see right there, you just get vertical right there. Maybe you get it. Oh, no, he's short. I mean, well, unofficially, he looks to be short. And it looks like that 19-yard line is a line to gain, and that ball looks like it's down well before that.
That was a nice effort, though, because he was a good yard and a half behind it and used his palm to keep himself upright, give himself at least a chance at the first. But based on that look, he's about a half yard short. Now, so let's assume they don't give it to him. Fourth down here. Going?
There is no question. I mean, you already went once. Look, I mean, you missed it, of course, but down 21-0, you need this. You got to go on fourth down. You're not kicking a field goal here.
Well, we saw Northwestern down, what was it, 21-2 last week, kick a field goal. So,
well,
anything is possible here.
Yeah, it's possible. Not likely, though, right? In the multiverse, anything's possible. You kind of hit me with that one earlier.
All right, so while they review this, 20 seconds remain in the first quarter.
After further review, the ball carrier was down with the ball at the 19.5-yard line. It will be fourth down.
And remember, this Baylor offense, they've had trouble in the trenches, particularly in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of play call gets dialed up here. Maybe get Sawyer Robertson on the edge with some sort of run-pass option, because quite frankly, the BYU defense and the way that those guys are built, particularly on the interior of that defensive line, I don't know if you want to take your chances running right up in there.
5 for 11 on the season, 0 for 1 today on fourth down. Need a half yard. Empty set. Now they'll send Washington in motion. Robertson on a design run all the way to the house. They needed a half yard. They got 19, and a much-needed score for Baylor at the end of the quarter.
Boy, identical to the call that Sawyer Robertson scored on a week ago. They bring the jet motion, and he runs right up the middle with a little bit of a hurdle. Just what the doctor ordered. That's exactly what this team needed right now. Going for it on fourth down and converting and getting 6 out of it.
Robertson, who had 9 rushes for 82 yards, including a 45-yard touchdown run last week against Colorado. That gave Baylor a 24-10 lead at the time. It looked like they were on their way to cementing a victory. Today, they just needed this to get off the mat.
Yeah, and I know BYU saw this play a week ago with that same motion and may have expected it, but you could see Harrison Taggart not able to fill from that linebacker spot, and the athleticism from Robertson looking smooth with the hurdling action there. Yeah, the Baylor track coach out here on the field before the game, impressed with those hurdling skills. But that's awesome. I mean, you just love to see that, though, right? I mean, a team goes down 21-0. You know, you had turned one over previously deep in your own territory. You had not converted on a fourth down. Down 21-0. The offense, like, hey, man, this game's far, far, far from over. Just the end of the first quarter. This is nothing, but they're going to need that defense to be much more physical and intense.
Well, frankly, anything from the baseline that we've seen today would be an improvement. See if this gets returned. And it will be. And that'll take us to the end of the quarter as Marion is cut down at the 15-yard line. So at least a special teams play here to punctuate the quarter for Baylor after they allowed 21 points to begin the afternoon. They're off the mat. And it's 21-7 after one here in Waco. Strong start to the season for BYU. Back in the poll for the first time in a couple of years. 4-0 record, best since 2021. Of course, they were independent for a while, but this team could absolutely be a contender for the Big 12 title. It looks like this league is wide open to begin the season. Right?
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, you use that analogy as we were going to break, getting off the mat for this Baylor defense, and that was the analogy that Dave Aranda used talking about UFC. He says that BYU wants to get you on the mat. We'll see if this defense can get off the mat on this drive.
That's a good start. And just one on first down.
And it's just different, man. Like, you can tell the way that defense played early in this game. And look, I know it's just a little short handoff, but just seeing the level of intensity and hearing the pads pop, being back in this game now only down 21-7, you can say a little life in this Baylor team, particularly this defense.
Backup center into the game. Connor Pay is out. This pass is incomplete. Crossing pattern intended for Chase Roberts.
Carl Williams on the defense right there, all fired up, and now they're getting a little rotation for that pass rush on third down. And, you know, we talked about it earlier and just kind of how soft they were playing defensively and not matching routes very aggressively. You can just see a completely different look from this defense right now. See if they can get off the field.
Sonny Maccassini, you see there, he is usually the right guard. He's been moved to center here, so something's happened to Connor Pay. On third down, pass caught on the slant, Roberts, and he will get a first down out of this. Pickup of 10, and BYU will move the sticks again.
We talked about Roberts. You see him lined up here in the slot. I mean, this guy's 6'4". Watch him reach back and not break stride at all. Pass a little bit behind him, but that's the kind of talent that Roberts has. Able to just snag that ball, keep moving, and get just enough for the first down.
From the 21 with Kingston motioning in the backfield. They'll hand it off to Haunga. And he'll get to the 29-yard line. Gain of 3 on first down. And an injury here for Baylor at the end of the play. Looks like one of their linemen maybe crumpled over here. Catch a number on who this was, but immediately the training staff will take a look. And we'll take a look and come back to Waco after this. Good to see the 6th-year senior Matt Jones back on his feet, leading tackler for Baylor this season. At the MAC linebacker position, 44 tackles, 32 of them solo. Both second best in the Big 12. Trey Rucker at Oklahoma State having a heck of a year.
Yeah, and he's one of 13 members of this Baylor Bear team that have already graduated. You know, they talk about him being the source for that emotional energy. I mean, he's been around for a long time, as you mentioned. This matters to him. I'm sure they'd love to have him back on the field.
Could have a blitz coming here. Instead, they will back off a bit. That's a physical stop on Haunga. Getting upended across the 30-yard line, limiting him to a gain of 2.
Yeah, number 20, Devin Lemire, another one of those graduates on the defense, and you see him tracking, right? I love the way that he played that, playing nice and physical, but he's matching the stride of the ball carrier, but keeping that relation, that inside-out position, and then making the tackle.
I don't love when some of these guys try to hurdle. It can be really dangerous if you get upended and land in the wrong way.
Okay, Mom.
Pressure coming. First down here. I just look at that and I'm like, okay, that looks fun, cool. And then what happens when your feet get taken out from under you and land on your head? That's why I don't play this game. That's why you did.
No, I agree with you, though. Hey, calculated risks, right? You got to understand. Sometimes you try it, sometimes you don't.
Anyway, a first down here for BYU as I get off my soapbox.
I don't like you being up on that soapbox, Alex. That's dangerous.
It happens from time to time. At the 40-yard line. Retzloff to pass. Time running out, and he gets to his check down Haonga. What a beautiful play in the end. Haonga staying ready, picks up 9.
Boy, and the hallmark of this Dave Aranda defense, you don't know who that fourth rusher is going to be, and this time it comes from the linebacker spot, and Retzloff just able to get that thing off in the nick of time. He doesn't like to expose his defense. You know, we talk about the too high look, and we talk about bringing 4. He generally doesn't bring a 5th rusher, but you never know who that 4th rusher is going to be with the simulated pressures that he shows.
Retzloff now over 100 passing yards. Again, it's the freshman in Haonga fighting for a couple of extra yards. And it'll be third down here.
You got to be careful here if you're the Baylor defense. We know we've seen one trick play.
They are going to give him the first.
Oh.
Wow, the nose of the ball is right at midfield. No review on the spot, though. Pokai Haonga, true freshman. You mentioned Seone Moa, another freshman being out. And so Haonga's getting a number of touches here. Another one here for Namahine. And he'll rumble across the 45-yard line into Baylor territory. A gain of 6 on first down.
Boy, I love this run by Namahine right here. Just kind of pinballing his way through, and the biggest guy at 5'10", 205 pounds, but just finding those creases on the edges and keeping those legs churning, picking up those extra yards. It's a great position for this BYU offense, and as a play caller, if you're Aaron Roderick, this is opportunity potentially to take a shot because you're in such a good shape after first down.
Retzloff looking downfield, taking a shot. It's caught. Lassiter. Touchdown BYU, 44 yards.
Great route, excellent throw, and a better dance after the end. And see him working from this outside position, and those safeties have got their eyes on the inside. And this is really that quarters kind of beater, that skinny post. And Reggie Bush, the second, just not able to get his depth quickly enough to stay with Lassiter. We got to get a close-up of that foot action on that dance.
Not quite foot loose, but still. Extra point is good.
Great call, partner.
Darius Lassiter, his 3rd score of the season.
Welcome back to Waco. We're going to take a look at that last touchdown to Darius Lassiter. And Reggie Bush II, no relation to the USC running back. You can see the relation right here. I mean, he has got to get depth much sooner. You have to understand you're playing that type of off coverage with that bail technique. You know, the way what defensive coaches say, depth is leverage. Leverage is power. You have got to get that depth quickly and understand the matchup that you're in. If it's a guy that you know has better speed, you got to get moving a lot earlier.
I firmly believe that this team, and a little bit of pushing and shoving here after the whistle, especially on defense, feels a little bit in between because they've been burned by so many penalties, and it might be a little bit in their heads right now.
There's no question about it. And Dave Aranda talked to us about kind of walking that delicate line of, hey, you got to tear into guys versus, you don't want them thinking, hey, I'm bad, I can't do that. And, the bottom line is it takes repetitions, and you got to have guys that can just play ball. You got to go out there and do it. You can't have the paralysis by analysis and guys just getting their feet stuck.
Robertson back to work. Pass batted down. Great play defensively by Mark Collins.
Well, I just didn't understand that at all. Sawyer Robertson, he hitched 2 or 3 times there and just waited on that throw and just gave the defender an opportunity, Mark Collins, to come up and make that play. He's got zone eyes on that, watching Robertson's eyes the whole time.
Robertson again. This time he'll step up and take off. And he'll slide across the 45-yard line to move the sticks. Gain of 11.
And much better that time, right? Like, it's so easy for us to sit up here and say what quarterbacks should do. I mean, you just have to go out and play. You got to make those quick decisions. You have more time than you think and less time than you think. Running back coach used to always say that. Said, what does that mean? He said, you'll figure it out.
Robertson again. And he'll cut it back. Take a hard shoulder and be brought down to the ground. Crew Wakely delivering the body blow, the redshirt senior. Gain of 3.
We really just have not seen that run game. I know that Jake Spavital, he's been talking about this offensive line. We know there's been some new players, some shuffling around. They really have not been able to establish the run thus far.
Robertson. Oh, running back screen, and Dominic Richardson could not hang on. 3rd down. That's a catchable ball.
Well, no question about it. I mean, Richardson knows that he's got to make this catch. Does a nice job sitting down where he's supposed to be. You see Sawyer Robertson getting just enough elevation on that ball to get over the defenders. You got to pull that thing in, and now you're in a 3rd and 7 situation. You certainly shouldn't be here.
Hawkins in motion. On 3rd down, Robertson chased down and sacked by Wakely. Former high school quarterback delivering some punishment. And it's 4th down.
Credit defensive coordinator Jay Hill for dialing up the pressure, but this is all on Bryson Washington. He's going to slide over from the running back spot and try and make this stop. Just not able to get over there. Excuse me, that was Dawson Pendergrass. But you got to bow up, man. You see that blitz coming. You know your quarterback's there. You're so close to him because you're stepping across him. You got to bow up and stop that progress.
Kingston to field this punt at the 22. And he'll pick up 1, maybe 2 yards on the return. Big time struggles for the Baylor offensive line continue. And Crew Wakely with the sack.
What did you say your name was? My name is John.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, the Big Noon Kickoff crew heads to Orlando. Can Coach Prime in Colorado come up with another miracle? And we'll ask who has the edge in tonight's massive Georgia-Alabama showdown. Alex and Robert, we'll see you at the half.
All right, Mike. Let's see, this Colorado team, boy, they got this Baylor team when they were slipping up late. 24-10 lead last week in Boulder for the Bears, but could not hang on, and now they're taking it on the chin against BYU. Cougars take over from their own 24. Retzlaff pumps, throws on 1st down. Lassiter unable to reel it in. In coverage, Devin Lemire for Baylor.
Yeah, all kinds of guys in coverage. Really had triple coverage on Lassiter after the last touchdown. Deep throw. Lemire was back there. Carl Williams was back there. Corey Gordon was in the area. That's one of those Retzloff's. I just want to take another chance for that deep ball. I'm going to throw it up even though there's triple coverage.
Roberts to set up in the backfield. Hand it off to Nawahine. And he'll get a couple of yards. But it'll be a 3rd and long for BYU. They are 3 for 3 to start the afternoon.
Yeah, and this is the opportunity if you're Baylor, right? Bring Jackie Marshall in along that defensive line. Kind of hard to believe him being 6'3", 290, former linebacker, all the way back in 22, hurt in the spring at 23. But he's got some juice. He's got some twitch in him. Big body guy that can get home. So watch him in this obvious passing situation on that defensive line.
Number 0 missed all of last year with an ACL. They pick up the blitz, shovel pass, but that won't get them the first down. And so the Baylor defense comes up with a much needed stop. Keanu Hill diving ahead for 5. And let's see, yeah, they are going to send the punt unit on.
That was, they were sending that punt unit on late, right? Half expected them to go for it. Risky move up 28-7, but you never know. And you never know if they're going to punt it. Hey, we got fake coming.
Sam Vanderhaar, who's been elevated to the leading role at punter. Aussie, former Pitt Panther, fielded at the 25. And Josh Cameron out across the 40, ripped down across the 40-yard line by John Nelson. Just over 5.5 to go in the half here. Well, families affected by Hurricane Helene urgently need your help. You can help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. We ask you to donate today by going to redcross.org, or you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS. A lot of people across the South and Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas need your support. Baylor will start with a short field here at their own 43-yard line. Sawyer Robertson, 5 of 11 for 92 yards. He's also run for 31, but his best starting field position this afternoon. Handoff, and it's Jamal Bill. Beg your pardon, it is Bryson Washington. Into plus territory, gain of 11, first down for the Bears.
Yeah, and this time go with a little bit of gap scheme. Get some pullers out in front of the run.
Going tempo, swing pass. Hal Presley had his feet look like caught underneath one of the corners. It looked like Mark Collins there as he was trying to set some protection there. Second down and 9 upcoming.
Yeah, and Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator, what you saw on that last play, identical to what we had seen with the pullers. They go with a little bit of gap pass, which means you get guys pulling with the play action, then try and get that throw to the outside.
Baldwin in motion. Robertson facing a 4-man front. Rolls to his right. Calls out a receiver and connects along the sideline for a first down. It's Cameron.
Good decision by Sawyer Robertson. You can see him going through his reads on the front side. Rolls out, makes a nice throw to Josh Cameron.
Gain of 19.
Well, he took a shot on that one too, man. Tough as nails.
Robertson, pocket collapsing, steps up, tucks and runs, stiff arm across the 25 and out across the 20. I know Robertson's main feature may not be his legs, but he's showing them off today.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Jack Kelly, you know, he's a guy they think may be playing at the next level eventually. Redshirt junior forced a fumble last week, and Robertson's like, get off. He touches that face mask, but gets his hand off of that quickly. And you just love this play from Sawyer Robertson. This is what quarterbacks need to do. When things are bad, your quarterback's got to be at his best.
Hand off to Washington. Slips the initial wave. That's a physical tackle at the 18-yard line. Isaiah Moa redshirt sophomore, one of two Moa brothers in the secondary for BYU. It's a 3rd down and 1. Tell you what, we talked about Jake Retzloff playing with a little bit of swagger. Robertson's playing with some swagger this afternoon as well, even after the interception on the opening drive.
Watch Ketron Jackson lined up.
Robertson takes another hit to the end zone. A tie-up and a flag. And this will go against BYU.
And it was Ketron Jackson singled up. A nice job with the formation. No opportunity to double him. Nice move off of the line.
Pass interference. Defense number 4. A foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball was placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
Maury Bamba coming off injury to begin the season. First team corner most of last year. Big mistake here.
Yeah, and Jay Hill, defensive coordinator, told us Bamba's not 100%. Kind of surprised. You want to expose a corner like that you know is not 100% without any sort of safety help. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Robertson dives at the 1. 2nd down and goal. Later DeMooney there.
Again, I'm sure the Baylor defense doesn't necessarily mind that, right? They don't want the quick score, burn off a little bit of time, give those guys a little bit more of a rest. And you can see the full shift change there along that defensive front and at the linebacker spot for BYU.
Keep an eye on 16, Isaiah Glasker. Robertson, the pass, caught for the touchdown. Cameron, and Baylor is right back in this game.
Well, we talked about the ability of Sawyer Robertson to identify the coverage that was appropriate for those back shoulder throws. Nice throw right there. Little fake to the inside. Josh Cameron, we've talked so much about him. You see him in the return game. This guy that can just do anything. Nice move off of the line of scrimmage. Get the defender to stop his feet and then get that back shoulder throw.
Extra point is good from Isaiah Hankins, the redshirt junior. 28-14.
Nice quick catch and throw. Prassis in on the coverage. Remember, he's a true freshman at that cornerback spot. Just gave way too much space on the outside to Josh Cameron. Don't watch his feet. Watch his hips. His hips are going to tell you where he's going to go.
7 plays, 57 yards. There was a flag for offside on the extra point. Obviously, Baylor declining. So 2:10 to go in the half of the 2-minute timeout. Both teams with all 3 timeouts here. Got ourselves a game. Looked like it was going to be a runaway for BYU out to a 21-0 lead. Baylor scored near the end of the first quarter. But it's 28-14, and keep in mind it will be Baylor ball to begin the second half.
Oh, big opportunity. And we had seen that defense rise up on that last drive. See an opportunity here, and maybe with the 3 timeouts for Baylor, and of course the 2-minute timeout that we now have in college football, an opportunity to double up. Points at the end of the first half, beginning of the second.
BYU scored touchdowns on their first 4 drives, but the Baylor defense forcing a 3-and-out the last defensive series. And given that context and the timeout situation, this is a huge inflection point in the game for Baylor.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we've talked about Dave Aranda kind of protecting the back end of that defense. But we want to try and get a little bit riskier here. Maybe bring that 5th rusher on a first down, try and create a negative play, eventually hoping for a 3rd and long situation and getting the ball back here.
Handoff, Noah Hine met at the point of attack. Oh, forced himself ahead for another couple of yards. Boy, is he physical or what? 5:10, 2:05. Timeout is called. And that is the 2-minute timeout. 28-14. BYU in front in Waco. Well, BYU has always produced good quarterbacks. Jim McMahon, the legend.
Jim McMahon was my quarterback with the Vikings, my freshman rookie year.
Of course, Steve Young, the Heisman runner-up.
Look at those shark shoes, man. You see those shark? The soft bottoms, we used to call those the Cadillacs, man. The starters, we'd wear those on Fridays. Like, everybody else is taking the reps. I'm putting my Cadillacs on today.
Of course, Jaron Hall, Zach Wilson. Recently, Jake Retzlaff here, and he completes underneath for a first down. Out across the 40-yard line as Lassiter is wrestled down by Keaton Thomas, who enters the day third in the Big 12 in solo tackles. Still, both teams with all 3 timeouts. Clock, of course, stops briefly to move the chains inside of 2 minutes. Jake Retzlaff, who they've asked him to do a lot. They put a lot on his plate, perhaps even more than Zach Wilson or Jaron Hall at this juncture of their respective careers. Empty set here. And on the crossing pattern, it's Roberts across midfield. He gets decked by Corey Gordon Jr., but a gain of 10 right at the sticks, and it'll be a first down for BYU.
And we've talked about some of the problems that Baylor's had on the back end of that defense, playing just a little bit soft. Again, you just can't think too much out there. You got to go out and play. You just cannot give that kind of room at the cornerback spot in a situation like this.
Retzlaff to pass again. Blitz comes. Retzlaff steps up in the pocket, gets away. First down across the 35.
You have got to be disciplined when you're rushing Jake Retzlaff. Keaton Thomas comes on the blitz there. You can't run past the quarterback depth. You've got to contain a guy like that. Not known for his running ability, but certainly can do it.
Retzlaff is now the leading rusher for BYU as we're inside the final minute of the half. A little bit of extracurricular stuff after the whistle. Keelan Marion not happy with DJ Coleman there. Clock stops with 47 seconds. Play clock still running here. A little bit of blood on Coleman's shirt, it looks like. BYU 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. As the play clock winds down, Retzlaff pumps, slings it to the outside. Lassiter trying to spin away, cannot. Made the catch in the flat and could not advance beyond the grasp of Carl Williams. And with 38 seconds left, timeout is called.
Yeah, it was an interesting kind of situation there, you know, as a defensive coordinator, deciding whether to use your timeouts on defense to give your offense an opportunity, or do you allow more time for the offense? Of course, they decided not to call those timeouts, and now with the 3rd and 13, you may have an opportunity to force a field goal or get this ball back with a little bit of time. But I'm just thinking Dave Aranda at this point doesn't want to do anything risky. He'd be more than happy to see this game go into half at 28-14 or at the worst 31-14.
So after the incompletion intended for Roberts, a loss of 3 with Lassiter, it's 3rd down and 13. With 40 seconds remaining in the half, Baylor with all 3 timeouts. And right on the cusp of field goal range, if not in it already for BYU. Retzlaff tucks and is tackled. And this sets up an interesting call as well. Kyler Jordan at outside linebacker making the tackle for Baylor. 32 seconds left in the half. And the Bears call a timeout. We'll add a few seconds back on the clock. So from here, it'd be about a 51-yard field goal. Will Ferrand's career long is 50. Kalani Sitake's team, who said that win last week, that upset over K-State, surprised a lot of people. Remember, this team was picked to finish 13th out of 16 in the conference. A lot of pundits predicted it would be a slog to get to bowl eligibility this season. One thing, though, that the players, the coaches didn't say this, but the players pointed out to us, they've been underdogs in every game. They know. 4th down and 12. They will go for the field goal. It'll be a 54-yard attempt for Will Ferrand, which would be a career long.
Watch the low ball when they try and drive it out a little bit longer. Opportunity for a block.
Ferrand's kick has the distance, and it is good. He drilled it.
Man, that thing might have been good from 60.
So career long for Ferrand, just the second he's hit in his career from 50+.
Nice snap, nice hold. Didn't even kick up any of the rubber from the field there. Caught it cleanly. Picked it off of the turf, like you with your sweet 9-iron.
Huh. You haven't seen my golf game lately.
How about your tennis game?
Okay, then we're talking.
Have you played quiet tennis?
What is that?
It's like regular tennis, but without the racket.
I've never heard of that before.
You missed the joke.
That's a new activity.
You missed the joke.
I mean, there are some people. Wait, listen, I'm not in on the pickleball thing in New York, so maybe this thing is going on there too. I don't know.
Quiet tennis, regular tennis, but without the racket.
I mean,
the noise.
They got to invent quiet pickleball first. Then we're talking.
I can die a happy man now, everybody.
Got him. Congratulations. This will be a touchback. Baylor with 2 timeouts, half a minute remaining in this first half. You mentioned for Dave Aranda, probably going to kneel it out here, considering they'll get the ball back.
I mean, we saw the first drive, right? They had a ball tipped and had the interception early in the game, you know, in your own territory. No, he's not risking this thing here. You know, sometimes you may say in a situation like this, well, let's see how the first play goes, but I just don't expect a lot from Baylor at this point. BYU only 2 timeouts. They can't get the ball back if you don't want them to get it back. Just don't do anything crazy.
Well, they'll line up in the gun. Robertson is going to pass here and has time and completes underneath to Washington. And he'll scamper out of bounds to stop the clock with 24 seconds left in the half. Setting up a 2nd down and 4.
Well, Isaiah Hankins, his career long, 54, which we just saw Will Ferrand make for BYU. You got a lot of work, though, to even get in field goal range.
Delayed blitz. Pass is reeled in along the near side in the plus territory. It's Presley. 18 seconds. Timeout called by Baylor. 24 yards on the reception.
Well, that's why I'm up in the booth making dad jokes. Well, Nick Spavital's down there calling the big plays, and we see Hal Presley lined up on the outside here, and so many times, you know, the defense is just trying to get in a position where they can make that tackle in bounds, and that's that little cover 2 void right there. Sawyer Robertson, throw that with anticipation and get the proper trajectory on it. And nice sticky hands or sticky gloves from Hal Presley making the fingertip catch.
And again, Baylor will have the ball to begin the second half. But already into plus territory on this drive. Robertson now with 143 yards passing on the day. Cameron the leading receiver with 77, but Hal Presley, who had the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th quarter, give Baylor a 31-24 lead with under 6 minutes to go against Colorado. That was a big one. Guy coming off of injury from last season.
This is a perfect opportunity. With 18 seconds left, you're probably going to have a couple opportunities. Go for a double move here potentially for the big shot.
Good protection for Robertson as they pick up the blitz, and he'll throw this away. It's an incomplete pass. I don't know if there's any little discussion there on grounding here, but I guess they say somebody was in the area.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I know he was out. It seemed like he was outside of the tackle box. He may have gotten the ball across the line of scrimmage as well. So.
Yeah. So I guess he broke the pocket, and as a result, the play was legal. So 11 seconds now. From the 45, Robertson.
There you go.
Caught. Hawkins at the 35, and as you said, I mean, this is right in the range of Isaiah Hankins. Gain of 12. Timeout called. You hit this, you make it a 2-score game, you head to the half, you have the ball to begin the second. All things considered, the way the game was going in the first quarter, not a bad position.
No, it certainly isn't, and it's a confidence boost for this team as well, I think. Especially the way this thing had started off, down 21-0, to be in a position here. An opportunity for that late field goal, and as we've talked about, getting the ball to start that second half. Really not bad at all. I'm sure they're going to get a bit of a tongue lashing when they get to the locker room, and I think they probably have had one on the sideline. They know what they need to do. I mean, it's funny, you know, talking to Jake Spavital, like, that's what you get with young players sometimes. You just have to fight through that. Watch the emotional swings, just get them to go out and play.
50-yarder for Hankins.
Short.
It is short. Tough to I don't think that got tipped, right?
I don't think he got tipped. I mean, I'm no kicking expert, Alex, but I think he might have just gotten under this one just a little bit too much. A little bit too much loft.
So a missed opportunity for Baylor to make it a 2-score game. Instead, we hit the half. 31-14 BYU. After the break, we'll get you to Mike Hill and the guys in Los Angeles for the one of the better decision makers in the Big 12. We haven't seen any mistakes yet from Retzlaff. He's been getting better week by week this season.
You know, and he credits his high school coach, Matt Logan, all the things that Matt Logan put on him as a quarterback. You know, he would just call a run that he wanted him to do, and he would have Jake decide which direction, which scheme, on pass plays, have him pick the protection. So he's really gotten into the nuances of the position and dug really deep, and you can see the fruits of those labors paying off, and even getting a little dance on the sideline.
He's also, yeah, really into the music here at McLean Stadium.
It's awesome.
Here's Bell from the 9. Bell zigzagging across the 30-yard line. And Sawyer Robertson will come back out of the field. I thought he had a strong half, too.
Yeah, he certainly did. And touchdown run almost identical to the touchdown run. Same play that he had against Colorado a week ago. Here we can see back shoulder throw to Josh Cameron. Really good at those throws and has a great rapport with his wide receivers and understands the capabilities of each one. And so he's able to get the best out of those guys.
Well, the interception he threw was the only mistake. That ball batted away on the first series. This time he takes a sack. He never saw that coming. Tyler Batty says hello. One of the senior captains.
He's going to beat a Bossele at that left tackle spot, and boy, you hate this. That's why it's so important, those left tackles for a right-handed quarterback, protecting that blind side. What a pleasure it was talking to Tyler Batty, and you said he's from Payson, Utah, the home of Footloose.
Well, he got loose there. Robertson sticks with it and completes in the flat, but this is going to be a loss. Washington brought down, and Crew Wakely is there. Was jawing with Tyler Batty
at the end of the play there. But Tyler Batty, 6th-year senior, there was a big question of whether he would return for BYU. He mulled it over for several days after the end of last season and eventually said, yeah, you know what, this is going to be a pretty good team. I'm going to stick it out one more.
Yeah, a lot of questions from himself. 3 days going back and forth.
This is caught along the near sideline to save the possession. Cameron with another grab. And he's approaching 100 yards on the day.
Yeah, and Mark Collins in coverage on that one. Looks like he might have slipped. Coming out of his back pedal on that one and allows Josh Cameron to get open on the sideline, but a dart from Sawyer Robertson.
Stacked receivers. Robertson looks left, escapes Batty, and the pressure from BYU. Robertson rolling out and throwing this one away.
Yep. Smart decision there. Live to fight another down. It's a good job just escaping that one and not having a negative play on first down. Looks like we've got Sidney Fugar coming in.
Yeah,
be going at that left guard spot.
Yeah, they're going to spell Alvin Abosale. Second down. Handoff inside. Richardson cracks helmets. Picks up 3 yards in the end. Give him 4 with the second effort. That's up 3rd and 6.
Yeah, the second effort and the late whistle there. I'm surprised they didn't blow that one a little bit earlier, but Baylor fans liking that one. BYU fans not so much. Extra couple yards makes a huge difference as a play caller, and we talked about this. And Jake Spavital, Joe DeRozio is the guy that gives that green call. We'll see what yardage.
Look out here. On a corner blitz and it wound up blowing up the play. Loss of 2, 4th down. What does Baylor do here?
Punt. See them going for the punt right here. We talked about this defensive line for BYU and the pressure. Anticipation is so important for coordinators, and Jay Hill anticipates the run call and brings that blitz pressure off the side he expects the run to go.
They're going to put the offense back out on the field here. 4th down and 8. And you know what? BYU nearly caught with an extra man.
Yeah, Parker Kingston is the punt returner. Back there counting his change.
Yeah, BYU calls a timeout, and it would have been a flag for a 12th man.
Boy, you hate to burn a timeout early in the half like that, right? But you don't want to put them in a situation where 4th and 2, almost certainly going to go for it with that field position.
And the gap is 17. So Baylor at some point needs to create something here. Whether that's a takeaway on defense or build stacking a couple stops together. Something's got to change the tenor of this game. Lots of talking things over on the sideline.
I mean, you look at BYU, though, a week ago against Kansas State. You look at that run that they had at the end of the first half and beginning of the second half, the number of points that they were able to score. And you're BYU. You're certainly not relaxing with a 17-point lead here.
Baylor 1 for 2 on 4th down. I'll keep the offense on the field again. Line to make is the 40.
Try and get him to jump, get some free yards here.
4th down, 3-man rush. Robertson to pass. It is caught along the sideline. Washington, a highlight reel. Tightrope grab to move the sticks.
Boy, you say they want to go in a hurry here, not give an opportunity for a review. We'll see if that foot was in.
Gain of 14, no review. Washington gets the carry, stumbles in the backfield, still picks up a yard.
I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I'm not even concerned if it was a catch or not. I just want to see it. Great athletic play. We'll take a look here and see if he's able to get that foot down. Look at that. Wow, wow, what body control. The field awareness from Bryson Washington. You know, that's tough catch for running backs in general, but to have that type of body control, contorted on the sideline, keeping that foot in, tremendous catch.
And a rare one where Isaiah Glasker gets beat, but you can't blame him. To the outside, and caught by Presley. Set up a third down and short.
But that was a towel there from Presley. I thought that might have been a flag.
A couple of gutsy plays here for Baylor on fourth down. They got the 19-yard score from Robertson on the design run earlier. Here they convert a fourth down and 8. Now a 3rd and 3. Robertson's pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Logan Latui. And another fourth down here.
We talked about this on a play earlier, and Latui does a nice job. You know, it's not just defenders getting their hand up, but understanding that they need to match the hand of the quarterback. And you see the style of delivery, that sidearm throw. You got to get your arm to the side, and he's able to knock that one down. Here we go with the fourth down attempt.
2 for 3 this afternoon.
Watch Robertson's legs.
Roberts scanning, pumping, throwing, caught for the first down. Presley inside the 20, wrapped up by Wakely, but another fourth down conversion, and here they go quickly again. Gain of 12.
Boy, not easy to be patient and poised in the pocket like Sawyer Robertson was there. Everything collapsing around him, had to double clutch that ball because the defender flashed, able to make the completion.
2 big fourth down conversions on this drive. And a first down at the 17. Handoff for Washington. And he stood up at the 15-yard line. Gain of 1 or 2 here.
Some fresh bodies coming in. Josh Cameron, Monterey Baldwin. Baldwin had the big touchdown a week ago against Colorado where he was just laid out completely. No, he's got some athleticism.
Bryson Washington, redshirt freshman. Checks out. Cameron back in. There's Baldwin in motion. On second down, Robertson to pass. Throws wide open. Touchdown, Ashton Hawkins. And with an extra point, Baylor can make this a 10-point game.
Why motion causes emotion, and it's that late motion sometimes confuses defense. Is he number 2? Is he number 3? And it looks like Ashton Hawkins just kind of gets lost, or the defenders get lost trying to track Ashton Hawkins. And Sawyer Robertson had a couple options there. I thought he could have gone to the middle of the field to hit the post on that, but Ashton Hawkins, nobody around him.
Rare mistake by the BYU defense. But Baylor converting 2 fourth downs on this series. 1 on a fourth down and 8 with this incredible catch by Washington. Then on a fourth down and 3, Presley getting loose. And it leads to 7 for the Baylor Bears. We got ourselves a game in Waco. All of a sudden, we've got ourselves a game. 31-21 BYU. Ranked for the first time in a couple years. Of course, this is a program that has long been a contender as an independent, but now in the Big 12. Last year, their first introduction to this league, finished 5-7, 2-7 in conference play. They had 50 new players on the roster, but a lot of them have grown year over year. Some of them staying an extra year, like Tyler Batty. Can they pick up that elusive first road conference win now that they're in the Big 12? Kick out of bounds. And it gives us an opportunity to tell you about Friday. Showdown on Fox College Football Friday as Heisman candidate Dillon Gabriel and the Oregon Ducks look to prove that they're among the nation's elites. They'll take on Michigan State. Action kicks off Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
And it was cool hearing Kalani Sitake talk about some of those guys that made that decision to come back. And, of course, in this era of the transfer portal, NIL, school like BYU and the academy, it's just a different kind of kid, but really cool hearing some of those stories.
Retzlaff completes. Oh, boy, I thought he did. That was in and out of the hands of Lassiter. Man, that was a dart, and he couldn't hang on.
Oh, man, we saw him get the touchdown earlier, and, of course, he's going to want that one back, and maybe just hearing the footsteps a little bit late of Keaton Thomas coming across, but, man, he lets that thing get into his body. Oh, yeah, he starts to turn that head just a little bit too early.
Safety blitz. And what it winds up doing is bringing a couple extra men out of the front. And now Wahine is brought down. Trevin Ma'ai, fifth-year senior from Hawaii.
Oh, big Ma'ai, 6'5", 296 pounds on that backside. And for the first time today, we're hearing some noise out of this crowd.
BYU 3 for 5 on third down. Baylor showing blitz.
You saw them look to the sideline there. Keaton Thomas, who was going to blitz. Maybe he stays back now and they bring a different 4.
They'll just rush 3, delay the pressure. Pass off the hands of Lassiter again. Thrown a little bit behind him. It falls incomplete, and it's a 3 and out for BYU.
Well, that Baylor defense did what they needed to do, but some self-inflicted wounds, and the drop from Lassiter, and then the high throw there from Retzlaff on third down.
Their first 4 drives, all touchdowns. Then a 3 and out. Then a field goal. And now another 3 and out. And it'll be Baylor ball here. Sam Vanderhaar is going to fake it and run it. And Vanderhaar has the first down and more across midfield. BYU going into their bag of tricks. And Sam Vanderhaar, former Aussie Rules footballer, getting the first down.
Oh, you love this goal right here. And the Aussie Rules football player, he knows how to run that thing, man. It's so cool to see a punter like that, shaped like that. I'll say it's just slightly different than you normally see out of some of the punters. But he doesn't lower the shoulder at the end of it. Plenty for the first down. Called that fake punt a little bit too early.
Retzlaff to hand it off. Nawahine is swarmed at the 41-yard line. Sam Vanderhaar was elevated to the #1 punt role in week 3. Landon Rico, brother of the former great punter at BYU, Ryan Rico, now punter with the Cincinnati Bengals, was their guy earlier, but Vanderhaar, redshirt sophomore from Australia, there he is. Getting his moment.
What percentage of FBS punters are Australian, would you guess?
I mean, I'd say at least a third now, right? Yeah, there are a lot of them out there. Caught along the outside, just inside the numbers. It's Lassiter for another first down. And BYU, they were looking like they were going to give this ball back on a 3 and out. Instead, marching into Baylor territory.
Yeah, and you love it. You love the aggression, right? And we talk about sparks and the emotion and momentum in college football players and in games. And you go with that fake punt, come right back. And, of course, we had talked about the drop from Lassiter and Retzlaff throwing high. Now those guys are connecting and on the edge of the red zone.
Caught by Roberts. The slant.
Yeah, we haven't heard a lot out of Roberts tonight. I mean, apart from that short touchdown, with that height, you wonder at some point we're going to get another shot or get some sort of shot over the top with him.
Gain of 5 there. Another drop from Lassiter. Third down and 5 here. This has been a tough series for Darius Lassiter, redshirt senior from Chandler, Arizona. Second generation football player. His dad played in the NFL. BYU started the afternoon 3 for 3 on third down, 0 for 3 since.
Keelan Marion lined up to the right side of the formation, manned up here.
Empty backfield, third down, pass is juggled and caught by Lassiter. Heart and throat moment after the drops earlier in the sequence. But Lassiter reels it in for a first down.
Boy, what a catch, because Matt Jones looked like, I thought Matt Jones was going to get flagged on this one with the contact earlier. Lassiter able to juggle that one and bring it in. And wide receivers, you know, they always hate the drops, right? And just get that little bit extra bit of concentration and focus after that. Make a nice, tough catch.
Aonga in the backfield now, the true freshman. And he'll get the call, try to lower his shoulder. He says hello to Keaton Thomas. And a loss of 2.
Boy, nice job by Keaton Thomas there, getting skinny. Left guard Waylon Lapuaho was coming out to block him. Got an injury there. Looks like one of the linemen.
We'll check on the injury. Well, Waylon Lapuaho helped off the field. Baylor, or rather BYU, getting banged up on their offensive line. They're already without Jake Eichhorn at center. He was their backup. Connor Pay, starting center, left the game, and we've heard he is not going to return. So you see Sonny Macassini, 51, over the ball here. Moved over from right guard, and he is now at center for Jake Retzloff. Retzloff swings it to the outside at the feet of Miles Davis, incomplete, and it's third down.
Well, that's the exact throw that Jake Retzloff told us that he struggled with, the accuracy. Sometimes that quick throws to the left. Too much thinking. You saw that throw earlier to Lassiter that Lassiter dropped. He likes to keep the heat on that thing, but if you're going to get that ball, especially to a running back, going to make that a nice catchable ball.
Empty
Miles
backfield.
Davis.
Sorry, Robert. Empty backfield here on third down.
I was going to say Miles Davis split all the way out to the right of the formation here.
Retzloff trying to take off, takes a hard shot. Kyler Jordan there, along with Trevin Ma'ai, just a gain of 1, and now Baylor has forced a field goal attempt here. This to get the lead back to 14 for Will Farron. He's already hit a career-long 54. This from 37. And Farron's kick is good. BYU getting points after this fake punt to keep the drive alive. Baylor with some gutsy calls on fourth down. BYU responds in kind. And they've extended the lead back to 14 on the road. All right, the reviews are in. First things first is a mix of analysis, tremendous chemistry, and total ridiculousness. Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildus. A fresh daily dose of unscripted and unfiltered sports talk. Weekdays, 3 Eastern on FS1. First things first for me, I got to get my math right. 13 is the lead for BYU.
I missed that one. What'd you say it was? 14?
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to rehash, relitigate.
You're the one who brought it up. I would have never noticed.
I'm just saying I'm trying to, clean up on aisle 4.
I just hope we don't get any crickets up here.
Better not. This will be taken out by Dominic Richardson. Richardson stutter step. And he gets a nice block that may result in a penalty. And in fact, 2 penalty markers come in. So we'll see here if Baylor is indeed guilty of some sort of illegal block.
Yeah, I think this is going to back them all the way up inside the 20.
Would have been a 41-yard return.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 44, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, it gives us an opportunity to go to Mike Hill in Los Angeles for an all-state game break. Mike.
More Big 12 guys, K-State, Oklahoma State. Third quarter, DJ Giddens, 66-yard run for the touchdown. That put the Cats up 28-13 where it stands now. Here's a nugget for you, Robert. Cowboys trying to avoid their first 0-2 start in conference play since 2005. Back to you and Alex.
I appreciate that, Thrill. He's always got we got those nuggets going back for years, man.
Mike Gundy's squad it's just weird watching that team.
It is.
They're just out of sync. Robertson again with a pass that's batted down. That's 3 times now. And again, it was Logan Latui there.
We talk about how open the Big 12 is this year. You know, we're talking about the favorites. Utah having their quarterback hurt again. We'll see if he's going to be back.
Tell you what, though, the freshman is pretty good too.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Robertson since the first quarter. Isaac Wilson's been tremendous for Utah. And this BYU team, if they keep this up, boy, is that clash going to be special late in the year. Ball down the sideline, 50-50 ball that is incomplete. Intended for Ketron Jackson, Maury Bamba in coverage. BYU will face Utah on November 9th. And both of those teams, if they keep playing the way they are, that's a potential eliminator in a Big 12 championship. Potentially. We'll see.
What, late substitution from BYU. Maybe a little bit of confusion lining up here.
Robertson to pass. It is incomplete. Again intended for Jackson. Again Bamba in coverage. And it's 4th down.
Nice job by Bamba on the coverage here, and not so sure Sawyer Robertson did want to try and go. Well, you see Ketron wins to the inside. Gets that throw, and you love that. Bamba talking a little bit when he gets up.
3 and out for Baylor, unless they run a fake.
Could still, well, yeah, I guess it would be 4 and out if they don't make it.
Palmer Williams to punt it, and it looks like there was some movement up front.
Delay.
Yeah, it might be a delay. You're right. Yeah, play clock wound down. Yeah.
Delay a game, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
If indeed this is a punt, and it looks like it will be, just a 19-second drive for Baylor. A little over 3 minutes to go in the third. 13-point margin.
Parker Kingston back to return it. We saw the touchdown a week ago. Get a nice high kick, allow your coverage team to get down. Short.
We'll take a Baylor bounce, and Kingston it's a little bit, I guess he had the sideline there. Didn't need to worry too much about it, but still. Last week was an adventure that worked out. I don't think they want another one.
No.
34-21 BYU. Cosmo made the trip, as always.
I hope Cosmo is hydrating properly.
How about this? You know, we hear all the time from Kalani Sitake about complementary football, offense, defense, special teams. There's your balance right here. 25 plays for rushing, 25 plays passing for their 50.
Last week scored offense, defense, special teams. I think that was the first time since 1996 that they had done that.
And they now have 31 points off turnovers this season after getting the 7 earlier today. Retzlaff flushed out, throws it away. Now, Baylor's defense has gotten better as the game has gone along, there's no doubt.
But you just remember when it was 21-0 and just how flat they were. They certainly are playing much better, just no energy there. We saw BYU take some chances on that last drive. Saw the drop and the overthrow from Retzlaff, and then the fake punt. See if they're going to challenge on the outside here.
Handed off. Nawahine made an initial man miss, but that's a really nice tackle in the open field by Corey Gordon Jr., and it's 3rd down.
A really nice angle from Corey Gordon Jr. coming up from that strong safety spot, but now you got that 3rd and long. And remember, Dave Aranda likes to leave 7 back in coverage. But a lot of simulated pressures. You'll get a different 4 rushers every time. It's not always the 4 lined up on the line of scrimmage. Think the linebacker's going to blitz.
And indeed, that's the case. Retzlaff to throw. Intercepted! Gordon with the pick. And Baylor comes up with a takeaway. Their first of the afternoon.
And Retzlaff is trying to hit Keelan Marion. Coming on the in route. Just a little inaccurate. You can see him rolling to his right here and just throws that a little bit too far to the outside. As you mentioned it, partner, Corey Gordon there with an absolute gift from Jake Retzlaff. And that's the thing about Jake Retzlaff. I mean, he can make every single throw, but you know, it's kind of like golf, right? It's not how good you are at your best, it's how bad you get at your worst. And it just doesn't take much sometimes with an accuracy like that to cause a pick.
They're going to just double check here that indeed this was picked up, or this was caught and did not hit the ground.
Let's see if he got those hands underneath.
Yeah. Ruling on the field, of course, an interception. First career INT for Corey Gordon Jr. if it stands. Let's see.
Okay, got to control it to the ground. Nothing on that angle that's going to show us anything different. We'll see if we have any other angles. Call on the field, the interception, of course, so it has to be something clear and convincing. Looks clean to me. Nothing I've seen yet would overturn that one.
Baylor came in the day with a -2 turnover margin. -1 in the afternoon. That'll even things up. Kalani Sitake exasperated.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Baylor.
And we'll see in a 13-point game what Baylor can do here. Our defense has gotten better as the day has gone along. Steps up here. Gets a takeaway. And now Sawyer Robertson in the Bears offense. On first down, Robertson took a peek over his shoulder. Oh boy, did he get clocked. As he approached midfield, knocked off his feet after a gain of 5. Isaiah Banya.
Boy, Banya with a big stick at the end here. You got to protect yourself going in there. He got all bent back. He's tough, but you don't want him taking too many shots like that. Banya. He loved that as defenders sometimes. Those ball carriers aren't looking to get those free shots.
Robertson passed down the sideline into coverage incomplete, intended for Presley. Maury Bamba was there. Third down.
We've been calling Bamba's name a lot tonight, and we said earlier, Jay Hill, defensive coordinator, said he wasn't 100% healthy, and you can see Baylor has gone after him time and time again, but he's just been excellent out there for the most part in coverage. Great position on Hal Presley taking that throwaway.
Inside handoff, Washington, nowhere to go. BYU's defense holding firm. And as we approach a minute to go in the quarter, it's fourth down.
Oh, they're going for it here. See those signals coming from the sideline. You guys stay out there. We're going for this.
No gain on the play. It'll be 4th and 5.
Pretty tight coverage here. Man-to-man pretty much across the board, except for that left side slot.
They rush 4. Robertson gets away. Robertson tries to cut upfield. He slips and falls short of the line to make. Expressing his frustration, Baylor turns it over on downs.
Oh, just a great job from this BYU defense, plastering the wide receivers downfield, understanding what kind of concepts are going to be coming, and they flush Sawyer Robertson, who has nowhere to go. And Kelly, nice disciplined angle, turn him back to the inside. Robertson loses his feet, and the Cougars get the ball back just into Baylor territory.
Final 37 seconds of the quarter. And this play will be made in the backfield by Linus Noel III.
Caleb Parker, that initial hit coming free off of the edge. And, you know, they had said, Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator, said that Jake Retzloff had the ability to change out of runs into passes. Might have been an opportunity there to change the direction or go to a pass.
The end of the quarter ticks down. And we'll head to the 4th in Waco. BYU with a 13-point lead as we head to the final frame. We head to the 4th. Of note, the only touchdown Baylor has allowed in the 4th quarter this year, a late game tire against Colorado. Last week, BYU hoping to put the finishing touches on a 5-0 start. Came into the day one of 26 teams undefeated entering week 4. Rutgers survived last night. Miami certainly survived last night. Army 4-0. Dumped it off here, and Haonga, big play for the true freshman. And it's a first down for BYU.
Boy, I love this play call from Aaron Roderick. He's going to send Lassiter into motion to try and get some sort of tell what the defense is doing, man versus zone, and they bring a blitz off of the edge. You got that little running back check wide kind of route, that hot route.
Aaron Roderick was telling us yesterday they had 8 transfers starting on offense last year. They underestimated how long it would take that team to gel.
Yeah.
And they started bringing those true freshmen in towards the end of the year last year, and they redshirted a couple of them. Give it again to Haonga here, and they feel that they're such a more complete, cohesive unit now.
Yeah, no question about it. And one of the things that really important for coordinators is to understand, you know, we heard coaching staff talking about this last week with Washington, understanding the personality of the play caller on the other side, and Aaron Roderick anticipating a blitz had the perfect call. Now they go empty.
Roberts going to throw, incomplete. Double pass situation. Boy, did Roberts pay the price on it. It's 3rd down.
Boy, Lemire might have gotten away with a little bit of contact on this one too. We knew that they were going to take some chances on some trick plays. Here they go with the double pass. Chase Roberts, and a little bit of contact there from Lemire, but doesn't get called.
1 for their last 5 on 3rd down, BYU. They have a 3rd and 7 here. They are in field goal range. Whistle before the snap.
Timeout, BYU.
Second charge timeout to the Cougars.
And we'll step aside. Actually, we'll stay right here.
Kalani Sitake. We talk about some of the changes that came to college football this season. Having that radio, the ability to make late changes. Of course, that thing shuts off at 15 seconds. But he just talked about the way that players in general have responded to the technology. And obviously, not that our generations, I say our generations because we're certainly not the same generation. Yeah. Mine was really the first one that started playing video games, but I think with just technology being everywhere with the phones, he said that it's really enhanced the player interest and involvement, especially on the sideline, getting a chance to take a look at some of those videos. It's really changed the way that these coordinators work with their teams.
So BYU down to 1 timeout remaining. Wonder what the delay is here on the ready for play. All right, they're just checking the game clock. 13:25 is what it should read.
Got Darius Lassiter lined up in the slot on the left side of the formation here. Watch a slot fade type of throw.
Gonna hand it off. Now Ahine chased down from behind. And so Baylor gets the stop they need. Wow. It'll force a field goal attempt. That's Bush at cornerback. With the tackle.
Of course, that still keeps it technically a 2-score lead, right? Yep. 2 touchdowns. You got to get 2 two-point conversions. Just going for the field goal. A little surprised there, though, that they wouldn't want to take a shot.
Field goal no good. Missed it to the right. Another wrinkle in the plot here. Stays a 13-point game. Just slightly pushed it. (34-21) missed field goal for Will Ferrett. Keeping this a 13-point game. Jake Retzlaff chatting it over with him on the sideline. Baylor ball from their own 32. BYU led 21-0. Looking to get their first Big 12 road victory since joining the conference last season. Out to Washington along the sideline. Made that tremendous catch earlier in the half. Second down.
Boy, what a luxury when you have a running back like Bryson Washington that can split out, catch balls like that. He caught along the sideline earlier.
On second down, quick hitter. Presley going to be close to the marker.
I think he might have just gotten enough for the first down there.
Yep,
moving the chains.
Gain of 4. Presley, the senior from Mansfield, Texas.
Interesting formation here. You got a diamond to the left, man-to-man on the right side of the formation, though, in an empty look.
Robertson, flush to his left, connects again with Washington. Boy, has he done a wonderful job being available for Baylor this half.
Boy, and you know, this is something that we kind of expected to see earlier in the game from Baylor. I mean, Jake Spavital, he talked about the way that this BYU defense was constructed to stop the run. Big bodies in the middle. They want to get those big guys running and those little guys tackling on the outside.
Play action pass. Presley reels it in across the 35. Tackled by Collins near the 30.
First down for Baylor on a gain of 19.
Boy, what a catch here from Hal Presley. Ball's a little bit high, a little bit in front of him, and he just snags that thing cleanly out of the air and is able to protect himself. Another big first down.
Robertson scanning, and he'll complete short here to Gavin Yates, fullback from Frisco, getting his first touch of the ball game.
We talk about the weather here in Waco and this BYU defense here. You can see they're making a wholesale change, just absolutely no pressure on that last one. And it was the goal of Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator for Baylor, to tire those guys out early. They're certainly gassed on this drive.
Robertson 5 for 5 on the drive. Full-on line change for BYU as Robertson drifts to his right, fires towards the end zone, caught! Cameron with the touchdown. 23 yards for the score, and Baylor is within 7, extra point pending.
Going after Therian Alexander III, the true freshman cornerback on the outside, just kind of gets out of position. And talk about Josh Cameron and his ability to adjust to footballs. Goes with a little stop and go action, but Sawyer Robertson still goes for the back shoulder throw, and Alexander trying to catch up, completely out of position, overruns it.
Early on the field was a touchdown.
We'll see if he controlled the ball to the ground. I believe that's what they're going to take a look at. And when that defender gets a little bit too high, you throw that. Oh no, that's not. It looks like his left foot may be off of the ground before he catches that ball. That first look there, that doesn't look like a catch because it didn't look like he had that ball secured. Like the ball had barely even hit his hand. Just that previous angle is going to show it much better, but that left foot. Does it come back down in bounds though? It looks like that's on the line as it comes back down. Is it just touching? Is it just touching right there? Mike Pereira would have a much better set of eyes to judge that.
Mike, what do you got?
I think the first thing we have to look at here is control, and so we see control, and then is there a foot on the ground when he first sticks it? So is that left toe on the ground at that point? You know, to me, that is, and then he.
The ruling on the field stands.
And then to complete my thought, what they were looking at too is did he survive the ground, which he did. So it is a touchdown.
Mike, they jumped you. We didn't get to hear the prediction.
Thanks, Mike. Always great to hear from you.
All right.
Appreciate it. So, Josh Cameron caps off a 6-play, 68-yard drive. Sawyer Robertson perfect on the drive, 6 for 6. And I'm with you, Robert. Perhaps this BYU defense in the heat and the sunshine after an 11 a.m. kick is starting to wear just a bit. How about this grab? Second receiving touchdown of the day for Josh Cameron. All of a sudden, we've got a one-score game. All of a sudden, it's a 6-point game here. Baylor came back from down 21-0. There was a penalty that they announced during the break. Keep an eye on 94 White here for BYU. John Nelson leaping over the line, and that is a penalty.
It looked like he was on the line of scrimmage, though. It was my understanding that you can't use your own players to vault. We could talk to Mike about that, but jumping on the other players, as long as it's not the center, I don't think that's you can use. Well, you can use them to vault, maybe not jumping on them. But I thought even if you were at the line of scrimmage, you can jump over. You just can't jump on them.
It's a personal foul on Cialia Serra.
I know when you're not on the line of scrimmage, those players behind, they're not allowed to run and jump over, but those guys that are on the line of scrimmage can certainly jump.
And keep in mind, it's enforced here on the kick, so it'll be a kickoff from midfield. Keelan Marion and Pokai Haunga back for BYU. And they're going to pooch this one. That's going to be picked up pretty easily here by BYU. Interesting decision. Didn't look like they were going for an onside there, Robert. Ray Paulo will reel it in, and there'll be a short field after all of that.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I don't know why. And maybe you were. It was just a missed kick. Like maybe you were trying to get that thing to pop up into the air and get one of your coverage guys to get it.
It would also be a strange time of the game for an onside, even if you were going for that, right?
Do it when they least expect it.
It's true, I guess. I don't know. Hey, BYU's offense.
It's like
First 4 drives, they got 4 touchdowns. Since then, nothing doing. And all of a sudden, this game is in danger of slipping away. Retzlaff to pass to the sideline into coverage, incomplete. Intended for Lassiter, who had Bush draped all over him.
Yeah, nice coverage there by Reggie Bush. In great position. Able to get his head around, not get a penalty. Fighting for the football, a little bit of contact.
Second down. From the 31. Oh, big play in the backfield. Nawahine knocked down. Loss of 4 as the tackle is made by Devontae Tezino.
Tesno breaks through the line of scrimmage right there. And that's just winning your one-on-one. They talk about that all the time. Do your 1/11th. Tesno was able to defeat the block, get into the backfield, and get the tackle for loss. Now you got to be careful. You know, every defender saying, watch the draw, watch the screen. Retzlaff has to be smart.
On 4th down, 5-man rush, pass incomplete. Intended for Kingston. And it's 4th down.
But just a completely different level of energy, right, than we saw. A team with a heartbreaking loss a week ago against Colorado, and you know that's college football for you, though, right? I mean, the emotional swings. So flat early in this game, but good job by Dave Aranda getting this defense in particular to play much better.
Vanderhaar boots it away, takes a BYU bounce all the way inside the 10, down to the 3.
Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Gets the fake punt earlier in the game, and then he gets a nice rollout. Huge punt. Baylor will have it deep in their own territory.
Six-point game, BYU trying to hang on the road here and preserve their perfect season. How about this 70-yard punt from Sam Vanderhaar?
Well, you talk about the 3 phases of the game being complementary, but this is one that you got to field, right? We know that Josh Cameron's done a lot of great things in this game throughout the season. You got to field that punt.
And BYU pinning Baylor here. They'll start from their own 3-yard line. Here is Cameron on a quick out, escaping the grasp of Maury Bamba. And it's 2nd down. Out at the 10-yard line. Baylor going to go quickly here, though this play is bottled up in the backfield. No gain on the play. Washington with the carry. Mangelson on the tackle along with John Nelson. 3rd down.
Huge opportunity here for this BYU defense Baylor pinned deep. Try and get to 3 and out.
Washington sent in motion. Robertson goes that way. Washington trying to lower the shoulder and turn upfield. Tackled just shy of the marker. That's a big stop.
What's the green, right? Joe DeRosio, he's their analytics guy. Do you go 4th and 1 in this situation? And Jake Spavital said, hey, sometimes just it's got to be a feel thing. I don't really care what the book says. And Spavital says, go. Here on 4th down, deep in their own territory. Got to go with the fake clap.
Washington has the first down on a gutsy call. Deep in their own territory on the 4th time that Baylor has converted on 4th down this afternoon.
Boy, John Nelson, number 94, takes a chance along that defensive line to get a little bit of penetration, but left a big gap in the middle of that defense. Guys, you got to be disciplined. Understand the call, understand the gap where you have control. Don't leave any openings.
Robertson to the sideline. Oh. Was this a catch?
He caught it, but out of bounds.
Oh, just out. That would have been sensational from Presley.
Nice job by Crew Wakely coming over here, getting the late push. Look at this body control and those gloves, man.
They didn't have those back in your day, did they?
Not those kind of gloves. Pat. Psh, that's that sound you make when that ball sticks to the glove.
Washington in motion, right side, and pass zipped into the waiting arms of Ashton Hawkins, trying to zigzag across the 25. He has a first down for Baylor. And after starting at their own 3, the Bears are moving the ball here. Under 6.5 to go.
Jay Hill, the defensive coordinator for BYU, decides to go zone on that last play. They had been playing a lot more man early in the game, challenging these Baylor receivers, leaving a little bit more space now.
On first down, Robertson running out of time, gets rid of it. Borderline with the tackle box there.
Yeah.
And John Tamopeo.
It doesn't look like that got past the line of scrimmage. So this could be grounding.
And they'll throw the flag.
That's intentional grounding. Offense number 13. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. Brings up second down.
That was a good call. I mean, even if he's outside of the tackle box, he's still got to get the ball past the line of scrimmage and just skips it about half a yard short of the line of scrimmage.
Yep. Yeah, terrific work by the junior from Renton-West, Washington.
Tamoy Payao.
Yep.
You've been dying all day to say that one. Big play, and you can see that intensity after it. Love it.
Robertson to throw. Too tall for Baldwin. Incomplete.
Oh, and last week against Colorado, Baldwin made the diving catch into the end zone. And what did Sawyer Robertson tell us? He said, when you're throwing to Monterey Baldwin, you got to throw that ball deep. Give him an opportunity just outside the outstretched hands on that one. It would have looked almost exactly like the touchdown against Colorado. And what a missed opportunity, running right up the seam. And the safety has his eyes to the left. Baldwin running wide open.
Huge missed opportunity. Robertson on a 3rd and 21. Pass incomplete into coverage. And it's 4th down. Drew Wakely had an opportunity at that ball for BYU. Baylor will punt.
Certainly didn't look like we were going to have a game like this at the beginning. This is exciting. Of course, remember, Parker Kingston, that BYU returner, had the 90-yard punt return a week ago against Kansas State. Dangerous return, man. This is the opportunity. He's high kick, though.
From the 37, Kingston sheds one, sheds two, stays on his feet, and it winds up being no gain on the return. 51-yard punt. 5:32 to go, and now BYU can run clock here. Not a good half for Jake Retzlaff. Just 3 points in total for this BYU offense. He's thrown a pick, only passed for 37 yards. But after that tremendous start in the first quarter where they got out to a 21-0 lead, is there enough left for BYU here to run this thing down? Retzlaff looked like an option play, and he'll dive ahead. Gain of 5.
It's a great drive starter. Well, it's an offensive coordinator, Aaron Roderick, and Jake Retzlaff, the rest of these guys. And we saw earlier they took a shot when they were in very good position on second down. Here, they're going with a heavy look. This is the ideal opportunity, though. You get those defenders in, maybe get a wide receiver running wide open on the outside.
Last 3 drives, interception, missed field goal, and punt for BYU. And now a 3rd down and short, approaching midfield. Mawahine with the carry there, and a 3rd down here for Kalani Sitake in this BYU Cougars offense. Baylor in need of a stop.
Well, we've seen a number of times what Baylor has done in situations like this is spread everybody out and use the dangerous legs of your running back, or excuse me, your quarterback, Jake Retzlaff.
Retzlaff to pass on 3rd down, ball tipped, intercepted! It came out a second time. Keaton Thomas winds up with the recovery. Noel with the interception. And with 4 minutes to go, BYU turns it over.
Oh, Retzlaff has got to know Matt Jones and Trevor Maai are going to be right in his face on this. Completely free. Nawahini wasn't able to make the block. Wow, what a costly play. Almost identical to what happened to Sawyer Robertson earlier in the game.
Well, that was a really interesting decision to try to pitch this ball right after you get the takeaway. 2nd turnover for Retzlaff this afternoon. Baylor with a short field and an opportunity to take the lead here. Baylor's defense coming into the day had 2 total interceptions on the season. They have 2 this afternoon. 4:01 on the clock. Baylor with all 3 timeouts. Washington met at the point of attack, gets a half yard on 1st down. Batty there for the stop for BYU.
We've seen time and time again Josh Cameron be the go-to guy for this Baylor offense. See if Robertson finds a way to get it to him here. He's lined up on the right side on the outside of the formation.
Robertson on what looked to be a design run, surges ahead but only gets a yard.
Boy, Tyler Batty, just such a tremendous job there. We've been talking about him all day long, and for good reason. This is a guy that could have turned pro, went back and forth on his decision, and he just talked about the way that he's honed his craft. And use of hands, a big part of that, and that was what made the difference on that last play.
One of the top edge rushers in the Big 12. 3rd down here. Robertson looking, throwing, hits his target. It is Hawkins for the 1st down.
across the 30-yard line. 16 yards, and the clock stops on an injury to a BYU Cougar. That's Isaiah Glasker, their star linebacker.
And take a look at this last play, and Sawyer Robertson able to stand in the pocket, because watch Bryson Washington pick up the corner blitz. Sawyer Robertson had the time to throw on there because everybody was doing their job. It was a nice job finding Ashton Hawkins coming across the middle.
Lasker's going to get off the field on his own power. And hopefully for BYU's sake, he's okay. He's a big part of their secondary.
Yeah, and Baylor here, obviously down 6. Just how important is that BYU timeout that they had to burn because Parker Kingston, the returner, was still on the field, and Baylor decided not to punt that football, so they burned a timeout early in the second half.
Down to just one timeout, BYU.
Of course, now with the 2-minute timeout, time calculations a little bit different. Joe D'Orzio, easy for me to say, is that time management guy.
Robertson flushed out, gets rid of it. And it's second down.
We've seen Sawyer Robertson's legs be such a difference. Saw a touchdown earlier today, almost identical to the play where he scored on a touchdown a week ago against Colorado.
Baylor hasn't beaten a ranked team in 3 years. They've got BYU on the ropes here, but still need to find a way to punch this in. As we approach the 2-minute timeout, a gain of 4 for Washington, and this clock will tick down to 2 minutes here in Waco. Coming off the heartbreak from last week in Boulder. This Baylor team looks shaky to begin the afternoon. BYU went out to a 21-0 lead, but it's a one-score game as we head down the stretch in Waco. Baylor has lost 8 straight games against ranked opposition. The loss that started that streak came against BYU in September of 2022. A thriller. BYU won it in double overtime. Here the Bears with a 3rd down and 6, trailing by 6 at home. BYU trying to get to 5-0 for the first time since 2021.
Bamba and Cameron lined up, matched up man on man on the right side of the formation.
Robertson with time, pass, knocked down, incomplete, nearly picked. Jack Kelly.
Oh, Jack.
He had it in his grasp. It's 4th down.
Boy, Jack Kelly was just watching the eyes of Sawyer Robertson, just almost baiting him into this throw the whole time, and he just couldn't get it. So frustrated. Great job, though.
He had a huge game against K-State last week. Couple TFLs, a sack, a forced fumble, nearly a pick here. Baylor, who has converted 4 times on 4th down this afternoon. This is the biggest of them all. Robertson to throw. It's incomplete, and BYU will take over on downs.
But Jacob Robinson in the tight coverage almost had an interception against Wyoming a couple weeks ago, and they talk about how good he is in coverage. Tight all the way with Hawkins on that break, stays flat, stays on his hip. Robertson not able to deliver an accurate throw, but excellent coverage from that BYU secondary from Jacob Robinson.
Certainly one of the top pass defenders in the Big 12. Utah State transfer a couple of years ago. Baylor with all 3 timeouts with 1:47 to go. And they'll add 3 seconds to the game clock.
It's all about getting the first down, though. BYU gets first down. This game's over. Unless they get it early. Force them to burn those timeouts.
BYU needs 10 yards. Their last 4 drives has only netted them 24. Low snap. Retzloff the handoff. Nawahine powers his way through. That's a huge run on first down to pick up 5. Timeout Baylor. Well, it's Baylor's defense that just came out flat. They turned things around as this game went along.
Well, what's crazy, you talk about this Baylor defense, they were giving up an average of 280 yards a game coming in. They gave up 286 yards in that first half, but a much more aggressive style of play. Dave Aranda, of course, we know calling that defense. He knows what positions to put these guys in, and here that was just a poor decision by Jake Retzloff to attempt that throw into defenders, 2 defenders that were going to have a chance to knock that one down. But it's just such a dramatic difference what we've seen from them first half to second half.
It was a late flag here at the end of the run. And they're talking it over what it could be. Looked like some frustration on the BYU side. Maybe perhaps not only with the flag, but
after the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense. 50, correction, half the distance to the goal.
Wow.
3rd down.
Wait a second. No, 2nd down.
yeah.
He said 3rd down, but
Yeah, it should be
2nd down.
Either way, that is a huge penalty.
Half the distance. Oh, made the correction there.
On a late hit, it is going to be 2nd down at 20. It's a 10-yard penalty. Sounded worse than it was with a half the distance. Now, does Baylor get their timeout back? Because there was a penalty marker down. They shouldn't have been charged a timeout. It took them so long to huddle up and adjudicate this. Baylor should not have been charged a timeout.
We're having that discussion right now.
Dave Aranda's going to be motioned over to the referee. Here's what happened with the late hit. Inside of 2 minutes, they just announced that Baylor was given the option of a runoff. Obviously, they declined it.
That was Nawahine, running back, that got called for that one. Just everybody standing around, and he gives a little push, and you get an acting job falling down to the ground. And how many times do we say it, right? Like, it's never the first guy.
Right.
Unfortunate penalty right there. Just got to be smarter sometimes. Situations like that, just walk away from it.
So in the end, it's a 10-yard penalty. 2nd down. And it wipes away what was a 5-yard gain on the run. Nawahine. And he stood up after a 1-yard gain. Baylor will call timeout. That's their 2nd charge timeout of the half.
Well, you better believe they're going to be fielding this next punt.
I thought they should have had their first timeout back, right, Robert?
It's the first Baylor timeout.
Yeah, that's their first timeout of the half.
But Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator for BYU, you got your hands full here, right? Like, can't do anything crazy. This is almost a wave the white flag kind of down. Unless you get some sort of double move where somebody's wide open, you really don't want to take a chance driving the ball downfield here. But whatever the case, if Baylor can hold defensively, should have pretty good field position, assuming they field the ball. And you can see Kalani Sitake just livid on the sideline.
For as well as BYU has played through a little over a half, maybe even you could say 3 quarters. BYU on the verge here, giving this ball back and giving Baylor one more chance. Minute 37 to go.
We've got less than 80 yards of offense in this half.
On the ground again. Tackle made by Matt Jones on Nawahine. And it's 4th down. Baylor will use their 2nd timeout now. That huge penalty gifted Baylor a timeout back. So they'll still have that one in their pocket. And BYU will have to punt here.
You remember it was Josh Cameron who was back on that last punt from Sam Vanderhaar. He allowed that thing to bounce. Can't allow that to happen again. Got a 70-yarder off the last time.
That was a good 25 yards that he lost as a result of letting it bounce.
No question. You can't afford that. In minute 32, 1 timeout.
And you want to talk about BYU and a chance to run the ball, get a 1st down, run some clock, etc. That possession, grand total of 15 seconds.
I mean, that's crazy. You had the ball. Think about what they did on 1st down. You had the ball 2nd and 5, and with that half the distance penalty backing you up, full 15 yards. It's a terrible mistake. Have to understand situations in games. Have to be smart. Can't get penalties like that.
So after a 70-yarder.
Short kick.
Yes, it is, and it's fair caught. Just a 37-yard punt. Fair caught by Cameron at the 39-yard line. So Baylor needs 61 yards. They have a minute 24 and 1 timeout.
And what we've seen in this 2nd half, Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator for Baylor, he talked about trying to wear this defensive front out for BYU. They certainly haven't played as well in this 2nd half. We'll see how tired these guys are.
On 1st down, 3-man rush, pass incomplete. Intended downfield for Presley. Isaiah had an attempt on the ball. 2nd down.
What great coverage by Isaiah. I mean, that's just understanding the situation and what kind of concepts you can expect and who that quarterback wants to go to, dropping into his zone perfectly, tightening that window.
Robertson this time hits his target. It's Baldwin. And a flag in the backfield after the play. It's a gain of 9, and we'll check the penalty marker.
Holding offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Costly penalty, Sidney Fugar, the left guard.
Boy, a huge penalty there. And of course, both of these programs really, with the discipline that you've seen from these head coaches and from the programs in general, usually not very heavily penalized. Costly penalties here late.
Robertson floats this ball sideline, intercepted. Crew Wakely brings it down. BYU with the takeaway. And it looks like they're going to get out of Waco unscathed.
What a play by Crew Wakely, sitting back here at his safety spot. And he's just watching this all the way. And if you're Sawyer Robertson, you got to understand that safety's going to be back there. They're not leaving that cornerback on an island. And they're sitting back there with zone eyes watching you the entire time. You can't loft that throw. You just cannot make that throw. But a great job defensively from BYU. And that'll do it. Greatest formation in football.
May not have been smooth sailing. It may not have been the easiest
of afternoons, but BYU will survive and get to 5-0. Time for today's hardest working players, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Darius Lassiter, despite the drops at the midway point of this game, 8 receptions. That's a career high. 120 yards, a career high on the 44-yard TD.
Boy, so dangerous. And look, they just found a way. And you just have to have somebody rise up and make that play. And that man was Crew Wakely in the best start to a season in 40 years, 1984, the year Purple Rain came out. Gotta love it for BYU.
All of a sudden, the Cougs are making some noise that they could be a contender for a Big 12 championship. Final score here in Waco, 34-28 BYU. Let's get you out to Fresno State and UNLV.